and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Veil by the Grimm Femmes. So, for those of you who are returning, thank you for joining us again. For those of you who are new, we use storytelling here to process and unpack and kind of walk through real life actual trauma. So please feel free to take breaks when you need to. We will be doing the same. So why don't we go ahead and go around and my amazing, creative, wonderful players can introduce themselves and their characters. Why don't we start with Anders?
That's me. I didn't panic, y'all. Hi, I'm Anders. You can find me at Anders_D_K on the internet. I use he, him pronouns, and tonight I'm playing Tate, a abjuration wizard who also uses he, him pronouns.
And moving along to, I wanted to call you Lapis. You are in fact Val.
I was so quick on the mute button this time. I mean,
You're
hi, I'm
doing
Val.
great.
Hi, Val. I use she, her pronouns, and tonight I am playing Lapis, the Kalishtar druid dream person. Hi, we also use she, her pronouns. I'm gonna exit stage left, pursued by a bear.
Thank you for the raid. Hello, raiders. Welcome. We're gonna use storytelling to process some challenging trauma and pain in our real lives. So, thank you for joining us. Let's swing on down to C.
Hello, I'm C. I'm going by she, her pronouns. And I'm playing Billion, a cleric of the grave who also uses she, her pronouns.
Thank you, and we are going to move along to Quinn.
Yes, hello, this is Quinn. I don't know why this voice came out of my mouth.
Hi.
I blame you completely. Hey, I'm Quinn. You can find me on Twitter at Quintastic_. I use she, her pronouns. Tonight I am playing Primrose, who also uses she, her pronouns, and she is a Spring Eladrin Circle of the Moon druid.
And on over to Maria.
Hello, I'm Maria. I use she, they pronouns, and I am playing tonight Irene, who is a tiefling hexblade warlock.
All right, thank you, everyone. That takes it up to me. My name is Emma. You can find me at MK Hansen on Twitter and here on Twitch. I use she, her pronouns, and tonight I will be your story weaver. I want to first take a moment. Thank you to Maria for A, making this stunning overlay, and B, for running tech for us. Also, always a shout out to Variant Roles for letting us use this space to sort of work on this production, and also to Samantha Darcy at 65th Victor for making the awesome logo for the Grimm Femmes. And with that housekeeping bit out of the way, we shall return. Deep breath, everyone. Oh, we need a recap, actually. I just realized that. We're doing really great, everyone. So we'll pause. We'll pause the terrible nightmare music. Anders.
Okay, so currently our party is in the, I'm gonna say this wrong, Antikythera?
Yeah.
Antikythera Manor. We were invited to a strange party here, and when we went inside, we were told that we could explore to our heart's desire. We could take anything, but anything we took would not leave with us. And we began to open doors, and they began to lead to very, very strange and different places, each door going somewhere new. Last session, we opened the door to the garden, and Lapis decided to speak to some moss, and it was a very touching and wonderful conversation, while Primrose saw something sort of strange and present in this space with us. We then found ourselves moving down below the manor and ended up in a sort of monotone, grayscale, vast cavern with a large bridge over just blackness. As we crossed the bridge, we found ourselves faced with ourselves, but like weird shadow versions of ourselves. Irene embraced hers. Primrose attacked hers. Tate ran the fuck away from his. Lapis expressed that they felt safe in this place and that they did not want to leave, but were eventually motivated or compelled or persuaded, I'm not sure what the right word would be, to continue on forward with the party. And beyond the room with the bridge, we came across the remains of a library and delved down deep into Irene's memories.
And also,
I missed something, didn't I? I knew I would.
No. Actually, I missed something last game. I didn't take into account, unfortunately, C couldn't be there with us last game. And as the story weaver, I did not include where she went. So Billion, while you were in the greenhouse, managed to wander off, and none of you were able to find her. So she was not with you on the bridge in the cavern. So now we shall return to the dark space. So you all just went down a trapdoor, and Irene, you were the first down, and you first see, to your surprise, Billion at the bottom of the ladder, and she is sort of standing there looking a bit overwhelmed, perhaps wiping some tears from her eyes, and you have all been reunited again.
And I am horrifically shaken from what I just encountered. And I feel like I would, like, with your consent, like, reach out and like touch your hand and see if you were reflecting me back to make sure you're real. Yeah, okay. And so then I will just take a deep breath and say, where have I been? Where were you folks? What happened?
We went. Hey, everyone, come down here! Shout up to the rest of them up there.
Oh, you're not alone. Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, we just left a strange room. How did you get here?
I just left a very strange room, too. Did you... I saw myself.
We also saw ourselves?
Well, he was really terrible. I'm just so glad you're back with me.
Irene will kind of smile and, with your consent, go towards you to give you a hug.
I'll accept that hug.
It's a tight squeeze, like a very tight squeeze.
That's exactly what I needed.
And Irene, as you hug Billion, and you can now see past her, you see that you are in your old room. But it is disjointed. There are things floating. You see entire parts of the wall that are just missing, and beyond that you can just see that there is night sky. And you see that some chairs are floating and suspended in here. On the other side you see that there is a door ajar. And then you see yourself, but as a little girl. And she is staring at herself in the mirror. And she turns to look at you, recognizing that there are people in her space. And she looks at you forlorn, and she's clearly been crying. And she doesn't seem scared that there's a group of people in here, or surprised. She just seems exhausted and endlessly sad.
I'm gonna slowly release Billion and directed towards everyone. I'm gonna look at everyone and say, you all can see her too, right? Irene's gonna walk towards herself, and about halfway there, she's just gonna turn back towards everyone, just to make sure that they're still there. And will approach her younger self and kneel down and say, "Can you tell me why you're crying?"
And what do you say in response?
She's going to point at the mirror and say, "I don't like it." And then I think this kind of causes present Irene to just almost match in the tears, or the fallen tears already, of this smaller version of herself. And she's gonna look in the mirror. Is there anything there that you wanted to describe in the mirror?
You see exactly as it is in here.
Okay. Irene will say to herself, I don't think you should hate it. Hating something that you have to live with is not very good for you. Sometimes you have to look at something you hate, and some days it's easy to say that you like it, and some days you just have to pretend really, really, really hard until you believe it. But you don't have to cry about it. And all of this, she's directing it at the mirror, and she's not saying it to the smaller version of herself. She's saying it to her own reflection. And yet it's like these words have been recited before multiple times, and there's not any conviction behind them. And she'll turn back towards her smaller self and in a comforting lie will say, it will get better. And she will just give her smaller self a hug.
And she embraces you back. And as you kind of sit there for a moment, you hear her whisper in your ear, but you're lying. And with that, she kind of begins to, almost as if she sort of fades into a dust and turns into the debris with the remainder of this room.
I'll look back in the mirror and just kind of look at myself, and there will be a few new tears, and then I'll kind of wipe them away as I stand up and I turn back towards the rest of the group. There's another door we can go through. I don't know if I want to stay here.
I'll start walking towards that room then.
As you go, and walk through this other door, which is slightly ajar, and it takes you into a new room. Irene, you were the only one who can hear this, and you can just sort of hear echoing off in the distance behind you, yourself crying. You can hear yourself young crying. You can hear yourself as a teenager crying, and you can hear yourself as an adult. Just kind of echoing in and out.
Like through this door that we're going to, or from behind us? Okay.
From everywhere.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
It doesn't seem to be coming from the doorway, but in this room.
Okay. Then she is going to, I think, I think she's gonna cover her ears and is gonna just walk as quickly as she can to get out of this room.
Sure. Do you all follow? Okay. And you leave, and for a moment, you all think, all right, well, maybe if we just keep pushing forward, we will be all right. Lapis. In this room, the rest of you don't recognize it, but you do recognize that there is something wrong. You recognize this place, Lapis. It is familiar, but you also see that there is something wrong. You are in the depths of your coven's home, but it is inverted. The cauldrons are on the ceiling, bookshelves are upside down. There are chairs, tables, tea sets, bowls, everything is on the ceiling. And it appears covered in cobwebs as if no one has even been in here for quite some time. And you see again, there is a door on the other side of the room. This one is swung all the way open, but it's dark in there. And then you see, sitting in the middle of the room, yourself, before you buried your heart. And you barely recognize yourself. And young Lapis looks up at you. Oh, that got loud. It's hard to tell, but you do recognize that it's you, but it's hard to tell because she is cloaked and sort of hidden in these shadows. What do you do?
Since we have left the grey area, Lapis sort of looks like she's just operating on autopilot. As they enter this room, she will look at the figure and walk towards it and kneel down. And she will look. She cannot see the face. As she moves, the other Lapis moves to hide herself more, make herself smaller. Hello, I am Lapis.
And what is it that you say to yourself in response?
I am cold. And I don't want to be this. I tried to be different. I ripped and I tore and I forced the edges to match and change and shape. And they still don't. Some people aren't meant for the sun. Some people don't deserve the sun. We don't deserve the sun. Do we, Lapis? I am sorry. I don't understand the question. Hello, I am Lapis. Do you require assistance? And the young Lapis will reach out, and she's going to touch the space where her heart used to be on the older Lapis. And she's going to look up, and you can't see her face, but Lapis can. And she looks into the eyes of her older self, and she asks, "Why? Why are we so hard to love? Why are we so broken and misshapen and ugly? Make it stop. Make all of it quiet and calm. I'm tired of sewing up the cracks and the broken pieces of my soul, only to have them ripped apart again." And Lapis is going to touch the hand. "Hello, I am Lapis. Hello, 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 I'm Lapis. Hello, I am Lapis. Hello, I'm Lapis. Hello, I'm Lapis. Hello, Lapis. Lapis, 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 Lapis.
Irene wants to
Lapis.
run over and hug her from behind.
Lapis, 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 Lapis. I'm Lapis.
You are Lapis. And we're here for you.
I am not Lapis. I am nothing. I am no one. I am an empty vessel. Empty, 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 empty vessel. I am alone. I am cold. Hello, I am Lapis. Thank you for the physical comfort.
Can I see what this other version of Lapis looks like? I think you said that you can't, like, her face is just, there's nothing, there's like not anything discernible.
It's quite dark in here, and she is hooded and sort of like wrapped in these robes, so she is very hard to see. You can't make anything out more than maybe bits of an outline, but barely.
Does Lapis see Irene trying to look?
You would probably feel it because I was holding you fairly close, like close to where your ear was, and you probably would have felt me, like my head move up.
As soon as she feels your head move up, you will feel yourself being pushed away. And there will be a scream of no. No, 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 no. I'm sorry, Irene. That was rash of me.
I want to walk over to Lapis and hello, Lapis.
Hello, Tate.
Kind of move my body so my back is towards the younger Lapis. Do you want to hold hands again?
I think it would be safer for you if we did not.
Okay. May I walk next to you then?
Of course, Tate. I will always be with you until you send me away. Remember?
I remember.
It'll be easier for you this way. Shall we go to the next room?
Are you ready to leave?
I'm sorry. I do not understand the question.
Do you want to go to the next room, Lapis?
I am sorry. I do not understand the question.
I look over at Irene. Do you want to go to the next room, Irene?
Irene's gonna call their raven, which I believe had been sitting on Lapis this whole time. And is going to whisper something to the raven very quietly and store a message in it. And then send it back to Lapis and have it flutter and kind of land on your shoulder. And it will kind of ruffle its feathers and kind of shrink just slightly, and you'll hear in your mind a message that is just a whisper, but that says, "Don't forget the butterflies." And then Irene will get up and we'll walk over and be close, but with a little bit of space, and say, maybe we should go, right? And she'll look back to Primrose and Billion. I'd like to look to see if there is another door.
There is. There's a door on the other side that this one's fully open, but it's dark in the next room.
I'll reach a hand out to Tate, since I'm close to him.
I'll take it.
And then I'll look towards Lapis and give a small smile. and I'll reach a hand towards Lapis.
It flies. I take a hand.
I give it a gentle squeeze, and then I begin to slowly lead the two of them, looking towards Billion and Primrose and kind of giving them a head nod as well towards the next door.
And so you head into the next room, and Lapis, you hear, and you are the only one to hear this, the soft, quiet voice of yourself saying to you in your head, "Are you Lapis?" As you head into the next room. Thank you for the bit, Steech. And in the next room, Tate. You recognize this space as well. It is also your old bedroom, but it is dark and it has been ransacked. And it looks as though someone has rifled through everything. And at the same time, things do not make sense in here either. There are shadows existing where they shouldn't. There are mugs and plates on the desk that are shattered, but they are like held in suspension. And the rug sort of keeps flickering and then shifting and flickering and shifting back again. And you see sort of across from you, next to another door, you see that there is a mirror. And you see a reflection of yourself, of Tate. And as you're looking at this mirror that you remember, you see your fingerprints left across them. And you see that your reflection in the mirror just doesn't quite match up to your movements. And you see that he is just staring intently at you. And he lifts his hand up and puts it on the mirror. What do you do?
I check the doorway through the mirror to see if anyone is standing in the doorway on that side.
On the other side?
Through the doorway in the mirror, yeah. Not in our room, but in that space.
There's
Put my hand up.
and you can feel, it doesn't feel like a mirror. It feels like you are touching another hand. And now that you are closer to this mirror, you see that Tate has been crying, and he looks alone and lonely. And he looks to you.
Are you okay?
And what is it that you say in response?
I want to leave. I want to go, but they keep bringing me back here. I look back at the door again on my side. This is... I kind of turn my body from the mirror for a second. Would you all, do you mind moving out of the doorway and leaving it open? And I look back at the mirror. Okay. Well, I'm gonna walk you through it because we so you have to I know you've probably tried everything you can think of, but there's about a 40-minute window after the sun has set before the guard shift, and if you can get to the stables then and hide there, there's a moment where you can run and no one will see you go, so they won't know to chase you, and you'll have long enough to get enough of a head start that they won't get you this time. And you want to run to the church, okay? I know it's far, but you can make it if you just don't stop running. And when you get there, someone will help you. But you can't stop. Have to go as fast as your legs will carry you. And I squeeze the other Tate's hand.
And you see that you're able to sort of push into that mirror space and hold his hand. Does he say anything in response?
I'm afraid. I know, and that won't go away. You can't wait till you're brave enough to do it. There will never be a time when you will feel brave enough to do it. You'll just have to do it anyway. And you'll feel braver afterwards.
And you will see that, and you can feel yourself kind of melt away from your hand. And in the mirror, you see that he is kind of dissolving into the ripples of this mirror until you only see your true reflection. And it is no longer something that can engage with you. It's just you.
I look at the doorway again. Doorway's empty. Door's open. And I will turn away from the mirror. Sorry. I haven't had a chance to clean up this. It's kind of messy in here. That's embarrassing.
I'm going to walk over to Tate, and I will hold up the blade of grass that I took from the garden, and I'm going to use the illusion magic to make it into the flower that Tate liked. And I'm going to hand it to him. It will not last forever, but I made sure I can replicate it, so we can figure out a way to draw it in your sketchbook. If you have to go somewhere quickly again, you will not have to do it alone.
I know.
Tate, I am with you.
For as long as I want, right?
Perhaps a bit longer after. If you will permit me. My friend.
Thank you for the flower, Lapis. I'm going to keep it. And I know it'll probably be a blade of grass when I get it back out, but I'm gonna put it in a component pouch. As my hand sort of reaches into the bag, it's gonna feel something, and a thought crosses my mind, and I open the bag a little wider and I pull out a candle. Does anyone have a light?
I can conjure flame.
That would work just well. No, I'm sure that would work just fine in here. I'm gonna go over to like the bedside table and set the candle down next to where I used to rest my head. And would you mind, Lapis?
Of course. I
And
like the flame.
The candle lights. And this is the candle of invocation. And it is aligned to my deities and their alignment. And it provides light in the room, and anyone else in here who is chaotic good feels blessed by this magic. And I'm going to leave it there. To guide the other Tate out.
Okay. Do you head into the next room? Okay. And as you are leaving Tate, you hear sort of an echoing quiet you saying thank you. And in the next room, you walk through and you all see that this space is charred and it is smoky. And oh, thank you for all the gift subs, Matthew. That's really nice. Thank you. You see that there is rubble everywhere and it sort of smells of decay, and you see floating through the air that there are these sparks and embers that are kind of drifting in here. And then amid it all, crumpled on the floor and weeping and holding herself, it's you, Billion. And she does not seem to recognize that anyone else is here in this space yet.
It's actually me? Or
Well, it's maybe. It looks like you.
it looks like me. I'm gonna look around and just see if anybody else sees me.
Everyone can see this. In the same way that you all have seen these other versions of yourselves, you all can also see Billion on the floor. You can all hear her weeping.
About how old am I?
Younger than you are now.
Okay. I'm going to very cautiously walk up to myself.
And she kind of stops for a moment and looks up at you. And you now recognize yourself, and you see that you look kind of charred yourself, that you look as if you've been burned.
And I'm gonna just slowly reach up and touch her face.
And you can feel that she feels like she's warm, but she feels rough. Almost as if she's made of volcanic rocks.
I'm going to say to her, this will get better.
And does your charred and burned self say anything back to you?
Yes. I've lost everything. How can there's nothing else here for me. And I would say back to her, there's so much more for you. You just have to keep going. You need to get up and keep walking.
And you see her kind of reach up to you as if looking for help to get up.
And I will do whatever I can to help her up off the ground. I'll lean down and let her brace her entire body weight on top of me, and I will help her up.
And as she stands, you can all see that it begins raining in here. And you can hear the sizzle of embers going out as the rain droplets hit the ground and the walls. and steam begins to rise from the debris. And Billy, in this other version, will look you in the eyes, and she reaches her hand out, and it's closed, and she's holding something, and she unfurls her fingers, and resting in her palm is a ring that sort of has flames etched into the sides of it, and she holds it out to you to take.
What is this? I've never seen this before. I actually will say that to her.
And she just looks to you.
I will take it from her hands and say, I would just take it and say to her, thank you.
And as it continues to rain in here, you can see that she kind of becomes petrified, as if she is volcanic rock that is now being cooled. And she stays standing there, holding her hands out, looking forward. And she stops moving. And as you touch this ring and put your hands on it, you can feel a surge of energy rip through your body. And you can feel that this energy is yours, and you're familiar with this feeling of uncontrollable heat and energy within you. But nothing happens.
I would still yell to everybody to get out of the way. I would yell that to everybody in the room. Run quick as fast as you can, get away from me.
And for the rest of you, all you see is the steam rising, and you can see Billy in a bit of a panic. But you see sort of in your hands where you're holding this ring, a sort of soft glow that begins to get brighter and brighter and brighter until the room is sort of brilliantly bright and sort of like white hot. And then it fades back down into the ring. And Billion, you have received the Ring of Rage and Grief. And it has been crafted from the coals that rest in the spaces between your soul and your body. And mechanically speaking, once per long rest, you can twist the ring on your finger, and it will harness the energies and magics that already exist within you, releasing both your rage and your grief. And when you do this, hostile enemies within 50 feet of you will be hit with 4d12 fire damage, while up to 6 creatures will be healed the same amount. And you may also attempt to use the ring to regain control of your own energies when they have gone awry. And on a successful wisdom check, you will cancel an effect from your surge table. But on a fail, whatever you roll on your surge table will still happen. And as you continue to discover where your internal magic comes from, you will become better at regaining control using the ring. And once you finally can do it completely and wholly on your own, the ring will be absorbed into your body, never to be seen from again.
Okay. I'm gonna look for an exit from this room to distance myself from my statue.
You will see that there is, it doesn't quite look like a door, but there is a space in the sort of debris of this area where you can walk through.
I'm going to walk as fast as I can out of the room.
I follow.
I follow too.
All right. So you head into the next space in the next area. And hello. And as soon as you walk into this next space, Primrose, you see that this is a room from your past, you think. You're actually not sure. Whatever this space was that you think was yours has been reclaimed by nature. There are trees and roots covering the walls and floor. There are flowers blooming in patches, and there's vines covering the furniture. But there's like a layer of decay underneath all of that. And you see in here, on the other side of the room, a sort of familiar shimmer that you saw earlier, and that perhaps has been following you longer than you know. And a memory begins to take shape before all of you. A memory that, Primrose, you think might be yours, but you also aren't sure. It feels familiar, but also like you are covered in an itchy wool. And what is this memory that begins to spring forth in this room?
Sorry.
No. Remember, one of our things was hold space.
Yeah. There's a girl sitting, laying more like on sort of a patch of those gloom flowers like we saw before. And she's not moving. So I go over to her. And I don't recognize that it's me. And I can't tell if the gloom flowers were there before or if they're coming from her. And I just kind of reach out and check her pulse. And it shouldn't be there, but it is. And I cast Cure Wounds on her. And that pulse gets stronger. And I am very, very, very still in this space. And I would probably glance back and see if anyone else was seeing this, and realizing they probably are, just try to put myself between me and this other girl so that no one can see her. And I think at this point I would realize that we have the same colored hair. And I just sit there.
I'm gonna come and just sit next to you.
I will go and sit. And now look to Primrose, and with her consent, I will also cast Cure Wounds.
I will go and sit and make eye contact with Primrose. And hold out a hand and just sort of look towards the body to sort of ask permission to touch it. And I will lay a hand on her and use healing hands.
From behind Primrose are the soft sounds of wings, and then the soft pittering of little fuzzy feet, and the catbird Kylie will come around and will curl up. We'll sit in front of Primrose and look up at her, and then we'll just curl into a ball right in front of her as Irene comes and sits nearby.
And as you sit here, you see that for a moment, the primrose that is lying on the ground is sort of bathed in this light and warmth. And you see that along her arms and her legs and in her hair, you see flowers that are not gloom flowers begin to sprout and grow across her. And does she do anything in response, or is it just held in this moment?
I think it's just held.
And you all sit here, and you begin to feel a gentle sort of sensation wash over you. And you feel a warmth embrace you. And you all feel sort of sleepy and kind of soft. And you hear an echoing voice in your heads that sounds familiar. And you all hear, "Sleep, friends, for sunrise is here. It is written in the stars that we shall meet again. But until then, may your journeys bring you that which you seek." And the walls begin to soften and fade, and you see that you're floating somewhere in a cosmos, and that you are wrapped in stars and darkness. And you kind of drift off, and that's where we're gonna go and take a break. So for those of you in chat, stick around if you feel like you have the bandwidth for it, or don't if you don't have the bandwidth for it. But either way, you should get some water. And we're gonna go take a break and check in with each other, and we will also hydrate, and we'll be back in like 5 to 10 minutes. Hello, everyone, and we are back. We unfortunately, Anders had to go to deal with something going on, unrelated to this game. So send him your well wishes. Oh, did we? Okay. Um, no, you're doing really great. And so for those of you just joining us, welcome to the Grimm Femmes. And we are using storytelling as a way to process real life trauma and pain, which is why sometimes we will have more frequent breaks than other streams, or our breaks will be longer. And we use a variety of safety tools, which we'll talk about actually in a little bit, sort of during the last half an hour of stream. We're going to talk about some new safety tools that we're going to be implementing next week. And I also just wanted to say that I'm very proud of all of you. You all just did some incredibly amazing, but B, incredibly challenging role playing, and like you dug into some places that I know was painful. So I'm proud of you for not only just doing that, but for doing it on stream. That's amazing. You amaze me, and I love you all. So we will go ahead and pick back up, but this is where we kind of start getting to the sandbox bit of it all. And you return back to the town of Dawncall. And you all actually awaken in the same field area where the manor was located, but you see now it is quite overgrown. There's no building here, and you are all resting in a sorry, I'm getting a link for something. Hold on, please. There we go. You are all resting in a bed of grass. And you wake up and you see that you are all here except for Tate. You're not sure where Tate is. But we're not worried about him. And it is the early morning. The sun is just rising up over the horizon. And it's a little chilly as we are moving into the winter months. And you can see the smoke from the fires of the town sort of weaving outside of the walls of the city. What is it that you would like to do?
A quick programming note, not to break the silence. Web Captioner as a website has just stopped, which is why you do not see our captions anymore. It just stopped.
503 service temporarily unavailable.
Boy.
So just in case you're wondering why you can't read our words, it's because it just decided to stop.
Mood.
It's on brand for this evening. I think we're doing really great. Okay, good to know. Thank you. And apologies to everyone. I'm so sorry. I should type that in there. We should type that in there.
As far as what to do, are we standing in this grass? Are we laying in the grass?
You are lying in the grass, as if you were gently placed here.
And is it nighttime like in that nightscape? It's morning? Okay.
It's literally sunrise.
Okay. I think Irene's just gonna lay on her back and just wait for the darkening sky to just lighten naturally. just kind of breathe and enjoy the morning air.
And it smells like a crisp, just tail end of fall, early beginning of winter air.
I'm gonna run my hands very slowly across the grass, feeling all the feels. And I'm gonna like spread my feet out and just get as much sensation to ground me in this moment as I can.
And it kind of feels as if there was maybe just a light frost last night, but you can feel that you are supported by the planet and by the ground.
I'm going to sit up and cast Druidcraft to see what the weather is going to be for the next 24 hours.
Oh. What does it say? What does that look? First of all, what does it look like when you do that?
Oh, I probably just like mutter something in Sylvan, and then like a little baby orb pops up, like a. Words are hard right now.
It's okay. Baby orb, I love it.
Baby orb that's like a shit. The colors and the like a mood ring, but for weather. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah. And what does it tell you? You tell me. What's the weather gonna be like?
Oh God, I don't know. Should I roll?
You do whatever you want.
My DM brain. I think it's gonna be sunny. There, I've decided the weather.
Gonna be sunny.
For 24 hours. No, that's not how that works.
It's gonna be sunny and clear. Sunny for 24
totally
hours.
Me. We're in Iceland, surprise. And it's summer. Oh no.
Okay.
While everyone is sitting, I am going to cast something which seems ridiculous to cast, but also it was the only spell that fit the bill. So we're going to cast some Druid Grove. Yay!
What does that look like? Tell us everything.
So Druid Grove is a 6th level spell, and it's usually used to confuse or disarm. But Lapis is not trying to confuse her allies. So Lapis sort of looks around, sees that everything is overgrown, and then bends down and starts whispering to the plants. And she like whispers little things like, "You're doing great. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You go, tiny blades of grass." And in response, she'll cast Druidcraft from that, and this blue and golden magic will spread out in a 30-foot radius. And she just wants it to make a harmless sort of sensory effect where it feels like everyone is being enveloped in a very warm light, and just like a peacefulness can fall upon them, knowing that they're protected inside this circle for as long as they need, or as long as 8 hours she'll take. Which is 8 hours. Hi, I'm Val. I can't do math. Or time. Or drive. I'm the ultimate gay.
I was about to say, you're gay.
I'm also not sitting properly, so...
Same. I also don't know how to sit.
No.
No, can we talk about what a beautiful image for as long as 8 hours will take is? Please. Come on. I see what you did there.
Sure thing. That was intentional. Everyone give me credit for that.
Credit ye shall receive. Is this the music that I want? Yes, it is. Okay. And so you all sit here and you hold this space. And it's quiet You can hear off in the distance, dawn call is just beginning to sort of wake up.
I think as the sun starts to rise, Lapis will stand up and she'll stretch. And as the sun is rising behind her, she'll just look behind and say, I won't be long. And she will wild shape into a raven and just fly and enjoy the space and the quiet.
I think Irene's raven follows you for a little bit, giving you space, but also keeping you company. Irene's gonna sit up and just kind of watch these two shapes disappear. And we'll turn to the other two that are here, noting in their head that that Tate's here, but again, not feeling worried about where Tate might be. And say, do you want to help me make breakfast? I think we should make some breakfast.
I was just thinking about the same thing. I feel like food would be very helpful right now.
Tea.
I want to spend time making breakfast while Lapis is gone.
Or would you like to do this?
Well, we're in the middle of a field. I don't carry a lot of food, good food. So I will ask, how far away is the town's not very far, is it?
No, I mean, you could easily walk there.
Okay. If someone was to walk there and then walk back, how long do you think, roughly?
Well, it would be about 10 minutes to walk there, 10-15 minutes to walk there.
Okay.
I can go.
Okay.
And I'll just wild shape into a dire wolf and take off.
You head into town like that?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not unusual.
Yeah. And the wolf girl.
That's right.
That whole image of then with this music is giving me very strong Hayao Miyazaki feels, and it is very contenting.
Thank you.
You've done it.
I've done it!
I'll probably make a fire just for the soothing effect that fire can bring.
Do you mean you're going to make a fire here for a few moments, or do you mean you're going to light a torch?
No, I'm going to create a fire. Not for me, but
a campfire.
yeah, I'm going to just make a small little fire that we can sit in front of while we eat.
I'll help.
So where are you making breakfast?
In the middle of the field.
Okay.
We're gonna have a picnic.
And there's a small dire wolf acquiring supplies for that.
Amazing. And okay, so why don't we cut over to Primrose just briefly. The marketplace, there's like an outdoor marketplace there that is getting set up, but over down by the docks there's specifically like a sea food and sea creature marketplace as well that has been going well before you all got there. And it is not unfamiliar, first of all, to see animals running around here, but everyone knows who you are. So you could make the rounds and collect things without any issue at all. What is it that you would like to collect?
Bacon.
Yep.
Sorry. This was the
Bacon.
first thing. That's what Quinn IRL wants. And what do people eat for breakfast?
Just bacon.
I mean, yeah, that's me. Like make too much bacon and then eat all of it.
Yes.
And then feel gross for like a minute, but mostly content.
Breads. There's
Definitely a loaf of bread in true Les Mis style. Sorry. It's like, no, I'm not gonna make that joke. It's gonna make a really terrible Les Mis joke. Fruit. This is how I actually make breakfast in the morning. I just go, what, how? My brain is still turning back on. Focus at home.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm very self-conscious about it.
Nope, there's breads, there's fruit. You could get some some other meats that you if you wanted to do that. You could get some eggs. You could get stuff to make pancakes. You could get different teas. You could get some.
I'm trying to figure out what I'm carrying everything.
In my head, I imagine that when you wild shape into your dire wolf, you also have like a little satchel pack.
Yeah, like my bag of holding stays out.
Yeah, like you have like a pack that you have.
My backpack.
Yes.
You hear a raven caw going, caw, eggs, caw.
I will get the meta pigeon's eggs. And probably some like sausage. Definitely tea, like a lot of tea.
Just a whole tea set.
Yes. if I am allowed to, yes.
Hey, yeah, whatever you want. It's a magical world. So so you were able to collect these things. You see some faces that you recognize in the marketplace, and they sort of give you scritches with your consent and send you on your way. And meanwhile, back at the camp, Irene and Billion are building a fire. And Lapis, are you just sort of making some rounds overhead?
Lapis is going to go towards the forest. And she's going to just fly through the trees for a bit. And then she's going to reach this place, which is just a small brook with the water just trickling in the background. And she's going to land, still in her wild shape form, because I realized if I unwild shaped, I'd have to use my other wild shape spell slot, and who wants that? Yeah. So she lands, and this is also the spot where she does a lot of her prayers to her goddesses. So she just kind of sits for a moment in the peace and the quiet and just kind of looks into the waters until she feels herself coming back into a like mind space. And she just takes a moment to appreciate the colors of the forest and the colors of everything around her, and remind herself that even though she was what she wanted in the grey, it would mean sacrificing everything else along with it. And she doesn't know whether that would be a price she would be willing to pay. And she thanks her goddesses and asks them for their guidance and wisdom. And then she lifts up and flies back. And she briefly swoops down by Primrose to go caw eggs, caw, and then lifts up again.
Beautiful. And while you were sitting there, you also saw the familiar individuals of the Keeper of the Flame, who have taken their place to guard the forest and the nearby fields. And they recognize you, and you can see that their sort of heads that are wreathed in flames just nod slightly as they move along. And you are all back at the camp, making breakfast.
Irene is definitely humming during breakfast time.
I will woo along.
Awoo.
Oh.
When Lapis lands, she'll probably, with Billion's consent, land on Billion's shoulder.
I'm okay with that.
And just kind of sit with her, kind of perch on her shoulder. Occasionally she'll try and call along with Irene singing.
I don't think I would be singing along, but I would definitely be actively helping.
I think hearing these sounds of these friends of mine kind of accompanying, I think maybe like while she's preoccupied making this food, I think that Irene, the hum turns into actual singing, which is something that Irene typically doesn't do in front of other people. She doesn't think she's very good. And the song that she sings is it's a happy one. It is one that talks of it's it's the equivalent of Here Comes the Sun. And kind of just gets lost in the song. And maybe like while making this food, kind of like not really dancing, but like twirling around the fire while she's stirring like a pot of something, or waiting for eggs to cook, or waiting for the bacon to sizzle. And we'll just plate stuff up, and eventually it'll just go back to humming. But she's got like this very contented smile.
I would like to, with anybody's consent of who's around me, just kind of like reach my hands out and see if any, like, just to like create like a circle around this space.
Irene is all up for this.
It just feels like such a wonderful, calming, grounding moment.
I am a raven currently, but you feel
Oh,
the raven head like
yeah.
bop your cheek.
Yep.
I am a wolf. But I do a woo. I'm a very vocal wolf. As opposed to one can only aspire to be as great as Moon Moon.
An icon.
One does not simply declare oneself Moon Moon.
Oh my goodness. That made me so happy.
A woo.
Oh, caw.
I think after a moment just existing, let's be honest, it's a long moment. We're just hanging out here. Irene will just kind of, while laying there, just kind of look around to everyone and say, do you all want to see somewhere really cool?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Where is my things? I will stand up and take just like a step or two back. And using one of my Mystic Arcanium spells, I would like to use the spell Demiplane to open a shadowy door on the ground that leads to my own personal Demiplane.
Oh?
That exists for an hour. And it is one DM that I have used before. It is my secret solitary space where everything is. It is a space that I go where I know I can truly be myself. And so this shadowy door just like appears on the floor, and I look over at everyone and I just take a step forward and just go step like from up, just a step into it.
Oh, I'll totally follow you.
I am on your shoulder, so I'm going to.
I guess I probably should have asked Lapis if you wanted to come.
No, Lapis kind of looks around at Primrose and her dial phone and goes, huh? Cole?
And I would jump in true doggo fashion.
And what does this space look like, Irene?
I think this space, I keep adding to it. Every time I open this portal to this demi-plane, you can choose to make like multiple demi-planes every time you cast it. I just keep the same one. And I just keep adding to whatever's here. And it's a single room. It's 30 feet in all directions. But it's filled with things, but not to the point of feeling claustrophobic or oppressive. It has small sectioned areas, not walled off in any way, but you can tell based on the color of the wood floor that there are different places for different things. And one corner has about a dozen cats in various, like this jungle of climbing and scratching implements and bedding. An entire wall, 30-foot wall, is just floor to ceiling books. And in front of this giant wall, they're not tables or chairs, there's just pillows and like essentially large beanbag chairs surrounding this already lit open, essentially a fire pit. There is a piano in straight across that is playing by itself. Just this soft, lighthearted music. There is the ever subtle scent of lilacs everywhere. And there is one small table. It's close to where the piano is. And on it has a family portrait. And it's not like most of the pictures that you've seen, that you would have seen had you gone into Irene's home. It's not posed, it's not perfect, but everyone is smiling, truly smiling, in a way that was real and candid. And it sits in this very simple frame. It's kind of the most simple thing in this room, and yet it sits alone on this table. And in the center of this room, something she added this time is another table, a large circular table. And on this table is just every pastry that you could ever imagine ever. Hot pastries, and ones that are covered in sugar, and ones that are just sweet rolls. And she is already at the table when you all enter, and she'll turn around. Ta-da!
I'm really
Oh.
excited to be here. I will come sit with you and grab a pastry.
Now, usually we can only be here an hour, but I have a way to get us home if we get stuck. Sometimes I get a little sidetracked when I'm in here.
You see Primrose just like grabbing an eclair off a stack of pastries and like casually going over to the pillow section, like finding like the correct place to sit, you know, just wolfy things. Do the circle for a
doing
while,
the circles,
like with the eclair,
Pat,
like,
pat, pat.
Yep.
like this. Here's good. Okay.
Right here, with like half a butt cheek on one pillow, and then your head on all the rest.
Yes, this is accurate.
Lapis is going to swoop down, and if there is a maple and pecan tart, and I cannot say the English way of saying it, so I just say pecan, because apparently it's pecan in English, and that sounds weird as all hell. So I will take she will take a maple and pecan tart, and then sort of flip-flap over to where Primrose is settled, and sort of, with her consent, immediately like swoop down and sit next to Primrose, but then like whoop, like, never should I be doing this? And she looks to you, and then slowly settles down and starts pecking. And she looks very comfortable.
While everyone's kind of settling, I think Irene's going to go to a portion of this bookshelf that has a basket in place of where books are, and from inside is going to pull out a couple of pencils and a piece of blank paper on like a board, and is going to sit close by to where her friends are and is just going to start sketching. And she's not great at sketching, but she does it anyway because she wants to enjoy this moment, this first time allowing other people into her very private place, and she wants to remember it. While also nibbling on a delicious fruit tart. And because she can, she also sketches into this picture, making sure to add Tate there because she can still feel him here even though he's not here.
Unless there is something else that someone would like to do. I think while you sit here in this incredibly safe space and kind of breathe again, that is where we will end tonight's session. So, thank you all for doing what you did tonight. And thank you to everyone in chat who joined us. What we're gonna do now is let's go around and do outros, and then we were gonna spend just a little bit of time talking about some of the safety tools that we use, as well as some new safety tools that we'll be using for next week, and also answer any questions that anybody in chat has, or unpack anything that you all would like to unpack. So why don't we go around?
Do we want to do unpacking first and then outros afterwards? To
Yeah, we can do that.
Process through things and then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that makes way more sense. Yep.
Quick note. I can't take off the lapis mask anymore without revealing secrets, so I'm gonna dupe to the side, take off my... Yeah, there's secrets underneath the hood now. So that's why I
mean, you could.
Yeah. Listen, I have an aesthetic, and it's secrets, mysteries, intrigues, and lies, and also stealing. I wanted to steal so much from that manor, but Lapis wouldn't, and I was like, take everything, take all the silverware. One moment, please.
Goblin.
Thank you so much for all those bits and the kind words, Deej. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you, Matthew. I love you too. Okay, so let's take a moment. We can do some unpacking. Let's talk about the new safety tools that we're going to be implementing next week. So as you all saw tonight, my players went through some stuff. It was challenging, I think, to literally sit and have a conversation with yourself. As we all know, that introspection and reflection are incredibly hard. When you sit and talk to the parts of yourselves that hurt, that's really, really hard. So the brain and the body is going to do what the brain and body need to do to protect you during those moments, particularly when you're unpacking parts of you that are very vulnerable and that hurt quite a bit. And one of the ways that the brain does that is through disassociation. It's a way to separate yourself for a minute, protect yourself, to protect your spirit and your brain. And so as we sort of move forward with this, and also even this evening, the body naturally did that for some of these players as they were sort of going through these zones. Because again, these are not just things that we're pulling out of nowhere. These are pieces of their lives that they're walking through. So we currently use the 3 standard cards. We're going to add a new one that I think is going to be white, and it will be a signal to the rest of us, because when you disassociate, it's incredibly hard to sit there and say, hello, I'm disassociating for a moment. That's the absolute last thing that you cannot say it, you can't verbalize it, but we are going to have a card that's just white that someone can put up to say, I'm disassociating right now. And unless we are otherwise told, we're going to just give them the space to do that. Because that's a natural body response, and that's a safety mechanism. And sometimes you have to let the body do what it needs to do. So that is a tool that we're going to be implementing next week. So we will have 4 cards that we'll be using to ensure that everybody feels safe and respected and honored. You will also, I think it's a good card to have on hand just in general. That we have just a simple way of saying, I'm taking a minute. My body's taking a minute. And that's just the way it is right now. For some people, they will, they may ask us to, yes, absolutely, Deej, ask some questions. for some people, they may say, I'm going to tell you that I'm disassociating, and I don't want to do that, so please try to communicate with me in that moment. And you'll see that happen sometimes on stream as well. So the reality is that behind the scenes, we have like a long list of safety tools that we use, and we do check-ins on and off stream, and we do check-ins in between streams as well. So when you're doing something like this, in the same way that it's important during therapy or counseling, I realize I'm talking a very long time about this, so I'm gonna reel it in. Go ahead and we try to do a lot on stream, Matthew, but we definitely had a couple moments where we did some check-ins behind stream as well. It's a deal. You all are very courageous for doing this, and I can't thank you enough. That's a really great question. So Deej has asked, I once role-played a character that actually fucked me up mentally for like a week after. And watching y'all, I was curious if you would be open to verbalizing the struggles that this stream has presented to you. So if anybody feels comfortable sort of unpacking that a bit, and what that has been like. And for the sake of clarity and follow-up, for those of you who aren't in Twitch chat, I'm wildly impressed and overwhelmed by the courage. I'm very proud and happy for all of you.
I think in creating Billion, I specifically created her because I wanted to work on that. So I kind of went into this with that mindset. So I can't speak to like kind of unknowingly creating that character. But it is a struggle, and it comes up in like just as like a friendship, you'd like think of a friend like in your normal life. And I've had to do a lot of talking about that with other people, off stream, just like what this character, what the impact is doing. And also like even in therapy, so it's like a lot of working through it in many different facets of my life. And I don't really know where that will take me, but hopefully to like a healing place and being able to be more comfortable with this part of me that I really tried not to show. And that's why I created Billion.
Thank you.
I don't think I realized until this stream how much I use humor as a defense mechanism when I am in a situation where it gets too close to emotions. I feel the immediate urge to start making jokes, but also when I notice other people are struggling, I feel the immediate urge to try and soothe and make jokes to try and lighten and levity. And so that is something I'm trying to combat. And there are a couple times in the moment where I was like, my brain popped up and it was like, diffuse tension by saying this. And I was like, no, we're learning to sit with this and we're learning to work through it and work through the emotions. Yeah, I mean, Lapis went to a place I didn't realize she was going to go to because I know she was messed up from the last session, and I've been sitting with that for the last couple of weeks, like how she was doing. But I've done the exercise in therapy where you pretend you're talking to your younger self, and you the thing is like, would you say everything you say about yourself to the younger version of yourself? And it was it's one of those things where it was like, it's a headspace that is weird to get into because it's me, but also a me. Yeah, it's really weird to describe. It's me because I really struggle with emotions and expressing myself and self-love and all that. stuff, but it's also a very version of me that was in high school. So it's like regressing mentally back into a state where everything was a lot more heightened, and at the same time playing an emotionless character. There are times when I'm really grateful that Lapis doesn't have a lot of emotion, because I'm like, okay, I'm in the headspace where I don't have the emotion. But when we went through the door, my heart started like pounding, and it was really, really surprising, because I was like, I've been prepping myself for 2 weeks for this, and my heart is like pounding in my chest, because I was like, I don't know what's through this door, and I'm really into the headspace, and Lapis is like all sorts of places. The weird thing was when Irene said butterflies, that just clicked out of that state, and it was the weirdest thing, because I was in that headspace and Irene says butterflies, and Lapis was like, oh, that's something solid that I can connect to, and like I know. So it's a struggle, but it's also something that I look forward to in a weird way. I'm talking for way too long.
No, you're not.
But yeah, it's something I look forward to, because it also puts a mirror up to things that I haven't addressed and things that I've been avoiding addressing. And it's cathartic in a strange way, which I guess was kind of the point of all this, was that catharsis sort of dealio. I'm trying really hard not to make jokes right now. That's my time, I'm Ellen.
There it is.
I also do the humor to like diffuse everything. I almost started talking about Mesley, because Mesley's headspace is honestly harder. But that's another game. Void howdy. She fucks me up a lot harder, but that's because she doesn't have a support system. Thursday, gonna be awful. I mean, great, terrible, wonderful, awful. But Primrose, focus, Quinn. I honestly do not remember what my moment was, because my brain and my body just separate a lot. Primrose is weird for me. Not like weird, but like anytime she experiences any emotion whatsoever that has to do with herself, I just like immediately dissociate, which is part of what I'm working with. I don't, like I said, I like black out when I do Primrose things. I don't really remember what I did tonight. But we are working. I don't think anyone is like, or at least I haven't like talked about specifically. I don't know how obvious like what Primrose's deal is. But like I deal with being manic pixie dream girl, and Primrose is used to being whatever she needs to be for someone else. So trying to like, it's hard to put her into words in character and out of character. I am rambling.
No, you're not.
I feel like I am.
You're not.
Oh woo!
Oh woo!
Caw. Woof. Fuck. Yeah. Did any of that make sense? I'm so sorry. My brain disappeared again.
No,
It all made sense.
It made
Yeah.
it made sense.
Yeah.
It made absolute sense.
Cool. Yep.
I to kind of go to what Val was saying, this Irene is definitely encapsulating a lot of middle school and high school brain space. And it's this whole experience has kind of made me realize how much getting actual therapy would be great, because it's something I've never actually pursued. But that idea of talking to yourself and how like exceptionally self-degrading that I have been to myself in not just like physically, like my physical appearance. That's the easy one to do. But like as far as my own abilities and what I'm capable of and what I think I am not capable of, or what I tell myself, you know, those fears that you tell yourself you shouldn't do this because it's not, you know, you're not gonna be good enough, or they won't think that you're, you know, that is something that I have been working on a lot, especially this year, is the idea of no, you can, and still telling myself you can, and yet there's still a part of me that's like, you're lying. Which was very poignant, Emma, and I'm very glad that you added that, because it is so, it's still there, is that little voice that is like, but can you really? I don't have any way of processing things because I've never like had a character that's like this much me. But I've never in characters past, this is just another ramble, but I've never had any issues of like separating myself from my characters, and I feel like that's, I don't know what to attribute that to, but except for the last time that we played this game, that was a really heavy session, and it was heavy but in like a releasing way. I don't know what the point of this is.
This is casual, y'all. We're just unpacking. We're just talking. There doesn't need to be this is a round table discussion.
It's just very interesting to like think of all the different games that I am playing in and have played in, and to see in all of these different characters, I keep telling myself, oh, I'm just making this like random individual, and then realizing, oh, but that's also part of me. Interesting.
Yep. That was a great question, Deej. Thank you for asking that. Yeah, and I agree with Matthew. I think that not only are you sharing parts of yourself on stream and really, you know, walking through these moments with yourselves, and now you're here sharing and unpacking and talking about that. And I think that vulnerability is something that we don't talk about in this culture. It is not something that we celebrate. It's not something that we honor. And in order to be whole, and by that I mean wholly yourself, vulnerability is incredibly important and valuable. And humans are deeply flawed. So we're just out here doing our best.
There's a follow-up in chat for you, Miss MK Hansen. Deej chimes in again saying, I can't imagine that leading people through the darkness doesn't merit some out-of-game exploration.
Oh boy. So I will first I will first say what I find most challenging about this is not that I have full faith in these humans and their capabilities and what they are able to do. I find that what is most challenging for me is seeing myself reflected in themselves, seeing myself reflected in the moments that they are sort of processing and going through. And I do know, at least for the last year or so, I have been in therapy, and so I've been doing a fair amount of unpacking of my own. And I think if I had not done that, I would not be able to be here running this now, because once you start sort of facing your own demons, and some demons you have to actually befriend, you have to get to know them, you got to sit with them, you can't get rid of them. Once you kind of start that journey, it becomes sort of not necessarily easier, but it becomes sort of, you become comfortable in spaces like this. So yeah, I think that the most challenging thing for me, though, has been I feel as though there's a part of me that needs to sort of function as a strong kind of pillar in this, because I'm the one walking them through these moments. And there are many times that I have seen the sort of pain or seen myself in those moments. I'm remembering my pain when I had to sit there and talk to my younger self. And it's hard for me as like a highly emotional person who feels things all the time to not sort of also break down and weep with them. And at some point I know that's going to happen and it will be okay. But there is a part of me that sort of feels like I'm the one leading you through this. So I'm going to try and hold myself together. So it's mostly like just a lot of self-care off stream, which I'm working on being better at. I'm not great at it sometimes, but I'm getting better. So I think that's the tea for me. But thank you. Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate that a lot. I am honored that people show up and watch this every week. I'm honored that you all have said, I trust you. That gets me every single time that I hear that. Because you've all said it to me at different points and it makes me cry every fucking time. So thank you. So it is 8:44, and in about 15 minutes, Overlight will be up, run by DM Jazzy Hands, who's finally back. So why don't we go ahead and do our outros? Thank you so much, everyone. Let's wrap this baby up and prepare for next week. So why don't we go with Val.
Hi, I'm totally ready. Hi, me Val. Me. Who knows? Avoid bats, ravens. I'm on Twitter, the Nerdy Niffler.
You're doing really great.
Good moments that were great. Oh, I know what. You know what? I'm gonna take a quick sec and just say thank you, Emma, for giving, for especially something very particular. All of this, something very particular, giving us space to sit, not rushing. So when there are moments when we're just processing everything that's happening before you go into a scene or while you're in a scene, giving, and I say everyone for giving that space and time. And I think this is a very particular game which you need a certain kind of DM and with group that DM that inspires trust, but a group that also makes you feel very safe and very secure, and that you can be open, emotional, and vulnerable without it being used. And I think this is a very special group. I think you're all very wonderful people, and thank you so much for letting me be a part of this journey. And that's me. Oh, I failed. I got halfway out. Frickety, frackety, snickety, snackety, wickety, wackety, I'm out.
And that's
But also, Val does games on Fridays.
Fuck yeah, I do.
Fuck yeah, I do.
I do Project VHS with Maria, with Quinn, with Emma, with Anders, and with Taryn, who's on Urban Shadows, which you should also watch on Sundays. And Jen is our games master. It's void horror space. It's beautiful. It's terrible. We're all gonna be fine. And then on Fridays, I play short courts of the Shadow Fae. My character might have a son or a nephew. We're unsure. Either way, I'm gonna murder his mum/aunt. Yay! And then on Sundays, Mondays, I have this. I'm just gonna slide on out.
Well done, Val. Well done. Let's go down to Maria.
Hello. It's me. This game is really good. Say that about every game that I have the pleasure of being in, but this game is really good, and I very much like it a lot. I really liked these moments, Emma, that you gave each of us. Just this idea of being able to talk, in our characters being able to talk to themselves, which in turn was us being able to talk to ourselves, was not what I was expecting, even though you told us it would be weird. Spoilers, you told us it would be weird. But I think it was hard, but I think it was good. It was a good kind of hard. And I don't know, I love this. It's very nice. It's very good. And thank you. I'm at Happy Capster on Twitter, where I talk a lot and I post a lot. Also, I'm here a lot. On Thursdays, I'm in space with all people. And on Sundays, as was mentioned, we are in Juneau, Alaska with Urban Shadows. Last night's episode was real heavy. A lot happened. And it was a lot. It was a lot that happened last night, and I rewatched it today, and it was still a lot. So it's really, really good, but it's also a lot. That's at 8 p.m. on Sundays, and then this thing. But also, I am part of the Goblin Society Games at Society Goblins on Twitter, where we're releasing a lot of magic items. We released 2 today. So go check them out. They're some of my favorites. I say that every time because they're all my favorites. But we're also going to be in Dayton this weekend, Dayton, Ohio, at a Catacon is how it's actually pronounced. But we're going to be running some games, and it's going to be great. And you should come and say hi and maybe play games with us. Squish.
Squish. Thank you. Over to Quinn.
Yes, hello, this is Quinn. I don't know why I do that every time, but I think it's funny, and it's not.
Yes, hello. This is Dog.
Same energy, TBH. Before I get sidetracked, my Twitter is Quintastic_, and I yell about the things that I'm doing there. It just occurred to me, Emma, that this is me working through my PTSD. That just occurred to me.
Correct.
I was like, why is it so hard? Why am I doing so bad at it? And everyone else is really good. Oh, you're just like, what? So yeah, my brain's in a weird place. What are we doing? We're doing outros. Tomorrow is a big, important day. Tomorrow is the finale of My Child, a Velvet Soiree. And I'm not ready for it to be over. And I am so honored to have had the players that I had and just Avoid how I could talk for like 8,000 years, and I'll do it tomorrow, and I'll probably cry a lot. Come watch them definitely not commit arson. It's only the 5th of November. What could possibly happen? Remember what, Emma? I don't know what you could possibly be referring to.
What?
I wouldn't have pushed the game a year if I couldn't have gotten the 5th of November for the finale. It's fine. That wasn't a contingency that I had. And then I'm in Project VHS with these nerds, where Mesplay is a nightmare. What else do I do? Am I in other games right now? No, I don't think so. I think I have somebody in the works right now. I don't know what's happening anymore. I play video games sometimes on Twitch. Do I do other stuff? I write games. That's a thing. And I'm in the RPG writer workshop, and I'm writing a game for Cypher, and that's going to be a whole thing. What? So yeah, all of that's it's on my Twitter. Just Twitter. Mic drop.
And C.
Okay. Sorry. That's kind of spacing out for a minute. So this is the only game I'm playing in right now. On stream. Other games in person, but only game on stream. What am I supposed to be? What else are we supposed to include in this?
Well, where we can find you on the internet. However,
you can't find me on the internet right now. So working on that, everybody.
I think you're doing great.
Yep. I'm making like very slow, steady progress each week, so I feel like that's good. So yeah. That's all I got.
Amazing. Thank you. And okay, on to me. Hello, I am Emma. You can find me at MK Hansen on Twitter. You can find me here every Monday. On Thursdays, you can find me in Project VHS, which is also here, 8 p.m. Eastern. And this past Sunday, I streamed for a little bit on my personal channel. While I worked on some stuff for this game. I think I'm not going to get myself a schedule with that. I'm going to do it when I feel like it, but I appreciate everyone who swung by, and hopefully I'll do it again soon, or maybe I won't. I don't really know. So that's about it. The only other thing coming up is at the end of this month when I will be on So Chatty for his backstory, and he'll be interviewing me, and I'll be talking about the highs and lows and the ups and downs of my life. And I'm excited to share that with you all. And so stick around, please. Up next is Overlight with DM Jazzy Hands. If you like what we do here on Variant Roles, please support us. You can hit the follow button up above. You can check out our Patreon. You can also subscribe if you feel so inclined. And check us out on Twitter to stay abreast of all of the wonderful, amazing content that people are creating on here. It's wild and wonderful. And we also have a Discord if you're interested in that. There are all sorts of wonderful people in there. Just trying to create a safe space in a corner of the internet. So thank you all for joining us. We will see you next week right here. Yeah, stick around for Overlight. Thank you all. Be nice to yourself. Please hydrate, stretch your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and eat the patriarchy.